little longer. Since January 1987, I've been doing this same thing every single day. I love to do whatever I do, even when everything else is removed from me. But I love to pray. I love to preach. I like to teach. I like to bring people from where they are to where they're supposed to be, not because I've done it on my own, but because someone has been so helpful to me all my life. So I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I've, over the last 3 weeks, talked to my wife and my son, telling them that I am prepared. For me, the issue of eternal life is not just an option. It is not just a story. It is something that bubbles in my life, and I'm looking forward to being saved into God's kingdom. And that's what I live for. Take everything away from me, but please allow me to still stay with Jesus. That's my commitment. Even if whatever I do now is removed and I'm asked to do something totally different, I'll still love God, and I'm still decided to live with God in eternity. That's my decision. Many years ago, I was going to train as a pastor for the first time. I was 20 years old. I was called to minister at the age of 18. At the age of 20, I was supposed to go and train as a minister. When I went there, I was so naive. My thinking was they're going to teach me about Bible, about preaching. That's all I went to school for. I did not know every little detail. Until the other day, I remember even the second week of my studies, I was training for 2 years only. Then my teacher, there were only 2 teachers in that school, 3 teachers. It was a couple, and the couple, the husband was principal, and the wife was one of the tutors, and there was a registrar. Only 3 teachers in that school. Then the following week, I was told that, Hobson, we have some work to do here. We have got these fields here. You see, we've planted some corn, some maize here, and all those kinds of things. That's one of the things you're going to be doing here. When we are done with classes, get your hose and get into the fields. It shook my heart a little bit, because that's not what I thought I was going to train for. I was in the fields for some time. Then the other day, the teachers told me, we have decided to move you from the field. You see that chicken run there? I said, yeah, I see it. Say, please, we have got some chickens there, some broilers there. We want you to take care of them. There are eggs there, and you also need to take them for sale in the next city. So I had to, once or twice a week, I would collect all the eggs together, put them in a basket, a big basket. I go on a bus, and I go sell. Deliver, and I come back to school. The other day, I was told, no, we have changed. No longer with the chickens. We're looking for someone. You see, I've got the maize mill there. That maize mill, after we have done our work for the day, we need to collect all the monies that our customers have come to leave us with. I want you to account for that money. But we also want you to couple it with the taking care of the tuck shop here. You need to be selling in the tuck shop. And in the evening, when they close the maize mill, come and collect all the money and bring it to the office. All that squeezed my heart. I said, I thought I'm going to train to be a pastor and to preach and to teach. But take me to the fields, to the chicken run, and to the tuck shop, to the maize mill. These things don't seem to be adding together. I remember the other day, I called the registrar of the school. His first name was Davis. I said, Pastor Davis, I have a word with you. I don't feel like being here. Please, can you allow me to leave? And I go and do something totally different. Pastor Davis told me, Hobson, you do not know that maybe you're going to help someone in future. Can you just hang around? He prayed with me, and that was it. To make things worse, the other day they said, okay, you have done all the evangelism, you have done all the personal witnessing, you have done all the Old Testament history, you have done all the biblical backgrounds, but we have got also another piece that we want you to be exposed to. We have got that lab there. There's a small lab with about 7 typewriters, not computers, 7 typewriters. So they gave each one of us a station. All the keys were sealed with a black tape. They were sealed completely. And they taught us that you're going to learn typing by touch method. You don't want to read, you don't want to look at the keyboard. You don't have to do that. You need to do it because you'll be looking at the script and you're going to be typing long scripts. I said, but I don't need this. I'm a preacher. Unwillingly, I came on the typewriter. You know that big typewriter. You'd go making a lot of noise and encourage return, and boom. But you had to type, and on the other side, you had to have maybe some little white bottle with some white text or T-Pix or white out, whatever name you give it. So when you make a mistake, you'd patiently clean up and begin typing again. I didn't like it. But still, when the term came to an end, I was the best student. I got my A because I was typing without making mistakes. So give me a typewriter. I still use it very well. I'm comfortable with it because that's what I was trying to do. Big typewriter before computers came. I did not know how I would use that in my life. I'm telling these stories, talking about technical and vocational skills development. I don't want to go into the theories of how it looks like whatsoever, but allow me to tell my story a little bit. Prior to this, the other day my brother was using a sewing machine because my father was a tailor making men's garments, pairs of trousers, pairs of pants and jackets, and that was what he was trained for. That's what he was trained to do. So after my father had finished the work for the day, I still remember, I'm going backwards, finished the work for the day, then my brother was on the sewing machine. I've got one brother only. And he was on the sewing machine. For some reason, I put my finger next to the needle. So that needle went like that. Yeah, it was different, but my brother was saying, what are we doing here? What are you doing here? The other day, my father was not home. My mother was not home. My brother was not home. There was no one at home. I said, let me try the sewing machine. I was on the sewing machine. I climbed on the sewing machine like I was on the chair trying to use the sewing machine, not the electric ones, but the ones that use the pedal. You had to pedal like this, like this. So I had to emulate what my father was doing and what my brother was doing. I said, let me try. How does it look like? But by trying to put some thread and trying to put other things, because I saw my father putting the sewing machine the other way and put some oil there and put it back, oil and put back. I was so fascinated with all that kind of story. I said, today I'm going to do it on my own. I opened the sewing machine. I removed the belt and stuff like that. I began oiling. I did not know how to sew anything. Began oiling, things like that. Then the other time, I broke the needle. But I did not know how to replace the needle. I broke it. I did not know how to replace it. My father came. He saw that there was no needle. He looked around. He could not find the needle. But I saw him getting a gentleman who knew how to use tools and stuff like that to come and cut that piece. Cut that piece. I've never forgotten that. I never said a thing. I was outside. I could come closer just to check whether my father is going to ask me a question. He never asked me. Until now, he never asked me a question, but I was interested, fascinated with sewing machines. Fast forward. Many years later, after I had learned how to make garments, to make pairs of trousers, and to make shirts, and all those kinds of things that you would think about, designing things. Many years later, I traveled to college to study, but I had no sponsor. There was no one to take me to school because he had money. I had no money. So I remember when I went to college, it was Solus College then. I was employed by the Home Economics Department. Worked there. So one of them said, how does a young man like this, he's a boy, he's a fellow, why is he wanting to be attached to this? Working in the Home Economics Department, for what reason is he doing this? I was there. They paid me. They paid me good because I used to make graduation regalia for the university, for the college then. All the time I was there, I would do the cutting and the designing, and I make everything for the students. I did it with my hands. I've not forgotten. If you give me a sewing machine, I'll do it without thinking. I'll cut without thinking. It's part of my life. If you remove everything, I'm going to put a shop there and sell garments and sell pairs of trousers. I can do whatever needs to be done. But I did not appreciate it. When my father introduced me to this, when my brother showed me this way, when I went to school, did all kinds of things, I never appreciated this until much later in life, because when I went to college, I lived on the skill that was given many, many years ago. And why my father took me to the fields to cultivate, to plant corn and vegetables and stuff like that, I did not appreciate until I got broke at Solus College then, because behind my house, behind my apartment, I had this little field with those greens and that corn and everything. So I lived like everybody else lives. I'm simply talking about the practical side of what I'm going to be talking about right now. I don't have much time, but I needed to demonstrate that it's very important. The last piece, going backwards, last piece was, in my school, when you are graded, the maximum would be 4.0 in the American system. Grade point average, 4.0. That's what was required. You could get 2.0, at least if you get 2.0, it would be a C. But I remember my first semester in this training school, I was training as a pastor. I remember I got 1.58. And those who know about GPAs and stuff like that, you say, what is this? Then the school, the principal told me, we are going to put you on probation. But for me, I did not understand, because I was coming from the village. What was probation? It was like promotion. In my mind, it was like promotion. It was probation. I was failing in my classes. I was failing, not doing very well. I was failing. But you gave me chickens, I was doing very well. In the fields, I was doing very well. In the shop, I was doing very well. I was very faithful, very honest. I counted everything. So, my teachers were going to be sending me home, because I did not understand anything in the school. I did not understand anything. My GPA was 1.58, so they would send me home, but they would say they were talking about probation. But probation was promotion to me, so I didn't understand. I was coming from the village. Okay. But still they saw something that was giving them some little hope. So I kept on. I finished my school nicely. I went to the district. I started working as a pastor. And the rest is history. I just want to say thank you to God and thank you to those teachers. I still remember them, for encouraging me, for trusting, for believing in me. Although I was failing in the other things, but when it came to skills and using my other side of me, I was doing very, very, very well. And technical skills, technical and vocational skills are very, very important. I read somewhere that technical skills or vocational skills development plays a very important role in equipping individuals with practical competences, knowledge, and attitudes necessary for particular trades or occupations in the labor market. Allow me to indicate this one also. There are some schools, some colleges, that from times immemorial, they have been offering the same modules, the same courses, the same everything. And everything is the same. A few things have changed around us in the world. and they've maintained the same things. And sometimes they've complained, we don't have students. Sometimes they've complained, we don't have teachers. Sometimes they've said, we don't have money. The other piece that we have not exploited so far, it is the piece of technical and vocational skills. 2 years ago, I went to Gaborone in Botswana. When I visited South Botswana Conference, I wanted to visit their primary school and also their secondary school. I've forgotten much about what I saw in the primary school. But when I went to the secondary school, that is very close to the primary school, I saw things that looked different. I saw a place close to the school. There was a bush here, but they were busy clearing this place, and they told me, next time you come, you're going to find heads of cabbage here, you're going to find tomatoes here, you're going to find us having planted this whole place we're going to plant. I said, where are we going to find the water? Because Botswana is hot and sometimes there's no water there. They said we're going to make a plan, but our plan is to make sure that all this piece of land here we have cleared, we're going to be farming here. Next time I went, I saw cabbages. The place is dry, but the place is green. I saw onions, I saw tomatoes, I saw a few things. And the one who was guiding me, my guide, said, Pastor, come over here. I saw some places like it was a car garage or maybe a carport, but there were 3 of them. There was this bay and this bay and this bay in this high school in Mohoditsani in Botswana, in Gaborone. I said, what are these things for? They had roofed them on top here. On the sides, they had not covered them, but they said, this place we're going to be teaching mechanics. This place carpentry. This place we're going to be teaching something else. I'm talking about practical things. I said, why do you bother? Really? Why do you bother to put these kinds of things like this? It says, our students, we know that some of them may not make it to college sometimes. They may not make it further more than what they're doing. And whatever we are giving them now may take them somewhere. I appreciated that. I said, this sounds like what I would appreciate. The leader must believe. The principal must believe. The board must believe. They must have direction. I've read in the Bible over and over again that where there is no vision, people perish. Things don't go in the right direction. Several years ago, when I was in the seminary, not that first seminary, but the other seminary in the graduate school, I was expected to do one module which was talking about education leadership. That was all. Education leadership. I said, but I don't need this module. I'm training as a pastor. I said, no, but you still need this one. Education leadership. There are a few concepts that I've not forgotten. I've just added 2 more today. You can add to the list if you want. But they said, our business is to disciple our students. That's our business. But it is very important for us to answer these questions. There were 3 questions only. Who shall teach? What shall we teach? Who shall teach? What shall we teach? Who shall we teach? But today I decided to bring these 5 questions to us in relation to the idea, to the concept, to the reality of vocational or technical and vocational skills. It is a good idea on the paper. It is what we would like to do as institutions. We can do that, it's possible. But these questions are very important. If you want to develop vocational skills, or you want to develop vocational skills or technical skills, what are the questions you need to answer? Already, I would like to submit to us this afternoon. Who shall teach? Who shall we teach? What shall we teach? Where shall we teach? How shall we teach? These questions are some of the questions that we need to answer. In other words, who is the teacher?
But I've seen something very interesting, even in the conferences. Allow me to be humble here without opening the doors. No one reports me to anyone. Please, I beg you. I have seen sometimes where those who become educational directors, they have never taught before. They have no idea. They have not created a lesson plan, no schemes of work. They have no idea. And they become director of education to occupy space and time. God forbid. There are those who have been trained. They have gone to school. Their life has been teaching. Their thinking has been teaching. Everything is teaching. They breathe teaching all the time. They have the methodology of teaching. But for some reason that I'm not interested to disclose or maybe to talk about, to discuss, the round thing is put into a square into the round thing. Sometimes ignorantly, sometimes deliberately. Please, whatever can be done, let it be done. We have also seen this thing. In the classroom, sometimes it's okay that everyone teaches everything. But it is important also to allow those who have been trained in this area to teach in their area so that we bring excellence at the end. Because excellence, really, it cannot be born out of mediocrity. Mediocrity cannot bring excellence. Excellence breeds excellence. It's as simple as that. These questions are very important. Who shall we teach? I've seen it in the local churches. Even when you find you want to look for teachers to teach our kids in Sabbath school, even in the youth ministry, whatever, adventurers, whatever it is. Sometimes after all the elders have been elected, all the deacons have been elected, and they say, now, who is going to teach our children? And they say, maybe that one can help us. That one can help us just so to go and clap hands. But I've seen another different story, where I've seen professors with their PhDs, they're trained in curriculum and development and all those kinds of things. They're trained teachers. I have seen them accepting to be teachers of those little kids in the kindergarten, in the primary, in those other places. Teaching, it is not a haphazard arrangement or a haphazard profession. You have to know what you're going to be teaching and believe in what you're doing. Not because you're tired or have nothing to do and go into teaching. Teaching is not about mediocrity. I am who I am. I'm what I am today because of the teacher. The teacher helped me. The other day I could not see anything. I never saw a thing at all. They forced me. That school forced me to do physics, to do chemistry. I didn't want it because I was training as a pastor. The first time I went through this, I've repeated this story over and over again because it's my story. It's not your story, it's my story. I tell this story. They taught me the whole semester. I passed with an F. I waited one whole year to do the same thing. I passed very well this time with a C-. I said, praise God, I passed. But who cares when I failed? Because failure and success for me, they're the same thing. Sometimes you sleep differently and wake up with a different day and you fail. But for me, I don't take enough for an answer. I keep pushing because learning is part of my life. When I learn, I fail. Sometimes I succeed. But I keep moving into the future. These questions are very important. Allow me to say this, or my time is up. How shall we teach? Who shall we teach? Who shall teach? What shall we teach? In other words, we are calling for someone to be deliberate. Be deliberate. Be deliberate. As the head of the institution, be deliberate. We are calling for clear thinking. If you're going to do this work of starting a program or a project having to do with vocational training, there must be clear thinking. Who is going to teach? What are we going to teach? Where are we going to teach? Where is the space? Answer those questions and go and begin the program. If you don't answer those questions, you'll be talking about this thing over and over again. All the conferences, the seminars, all the meetings. We wish we can do this. We wish we can do this. We wish we can do this. Wishing is not doing. Just to go and do it. Clear thinking, headmasters, heads of institutions, principals. Wish, don't wish. Plan, sit and plan and move forward, because you have to start from somewhere. We call for clear thinking on the part of those who are leaders. In other words, when a leader is blind, everything becomes different, becomes very difficult. We are calling for you to be clear in whatever you're doing, clear direction, clear programs, clear everything, so that everyone knows where you're going. It should not be by guesswork. The last one is, there are so many institutions that I am aware of. They have created a strategic plan, maybe a strategy for their institutions. They spend money, they go to Durban, they go to Cape Town, they go to other places. They sit for a long time to craft the strategy so that their institution can turn around and begin moving another direction. But I've seen those strategies sitting on the shelves, and they gather dust and nothing moves. And life continues. If you don't have a strategy, please, I beg you, go ahead and draft it as far as what we're talking about is concerned. Don't just wish. Because we are calling all our institutions, really, besides helping people with the head knowledge, give them the skills. Now, it's not everybody. You need teachers who can show them how to do it. Those who know carpentry and joinery, those who know mechanics, those who know they'll be able to transfer knowledge to those who do not know. You cannot get somebody who does not know to do it. So vocational and technical training, it requires people, those who know, to pass information to those who do not know. I asked a question the other day. Why do people not make decisions or good decisions? Even those people we expect to make decisions, why don't they make good decisions? The answer was, they choose not to make decisions. We asked questions like, why are people afraid? Why do heads of institutions become sometimes afraid to make decisions? There were so many answers. But one thing that came clear was, change was very difficult to implement. I beg you, I invite you, don't be afraid of trying something new. Make a contribution in your institution. If you left your institution, if you found your institution in this way, leave your institution in a better way. Leave a footprint there. Let somebody say, there was brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, he made a difference in this place. I've got so many things to share with you, but I'm asking you, I'm calling for clear thinking. I'm asking for visionaries. I'm asking for those people who can make things happen. Don't sit in the place, warm the space, warm the time. It's important for you to make one little contribution. You may not do everything, but you can do something and make a change, make a change in your place for the better of the institution that you're leading. May God bless you. May God lead you as you continue to do his work. Amen.